guys, welcome to a new episode of Graduate Journey. Today we have Sarah Mehta with us. Please introduce yourself.
So, hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I'm currently studying at SVA in New York City, and I'm going to be graduating in 2025, and I'm majoring in design.
Did you apply to other universities as well as SVA?
Yeah, of course. I applied to Parsons, I applied to Pratt, and I applied to SCAD in Atlanta, Georgia.
Did you apply to any universities that were in a different country?
Yes, so I applied to a few universities in the US and one in the UK.
Were there any differences between the application process for a United States university between a United Kingdom university or no?
Yeah, so in the United Kingdom, I had to use a portal called UCAS, and in that system of application, it works a little differently. It's not that you have just an essay to write, like a Common App essay to write, and that's it. You have to go through an interview process as well, and you have to submit additional documents such as a CV and a portfolio. A portfolio is common in both. But I found the process in the US to be a lot easier for application personally, but that's just my opinion.
In the application process, like what are the different achievements and like traits that you had to highlight that essentially helped you get into a university like SVA?
So if you're applying to art school, the number one thing that they look for is your artist statement and your portfolio. These two things are very important. So your artist statement is basically it's just an essay that you write about how your creative process develops and how it goes. And your portfolio is a collection of pieces that are from your best pieces from the most recent years that you had. Like, let's say for me, it was 2019 and 2020 and 2021. These 3 years, I collected all my pieces that were my best pieces and I put them in my portfolio and I used that to apply. And also in terms of extracurriculars, I think just showing I know it's a very cliche term, but as the most holistic, I feel like a lot of colleges use this term. Just show that you are a very well-rounded individual, that you are like, just highlight the holistic nature of your application. That's all.
Okay, so another major thing that a lot of high schoolers worry about is CAS activities and community service. So, did you do a lot of that in this case for your application? And how did you go about it?
So actually it was required for me until the 10th grade. I had to do community service the 10th or the 11th grade. I did do community service in that regard. And I know that in IB especially, CAS is very important, like CAS points that way. I didn't do IB, so it's a little different for me. I did A levels. So we didn't have CAS at all, but we still had to do community service. I think it is a plus to your application. Definitely, it just shows another side, and a lot of universities want that. But in art school, it's not as required, in my opinion. It's like for us, it's just portfolio and artist statement are the most important things, and grades. Obviously, you can't be slipping on your grades. You have to have good grades.
So do they look at all the grades or like only specific subjects? Like for example, the major ones like English and of course art. So would they also look at scientific subjects? Like for example, if you look at chemistry, would they look at it with the same weightage as like an essential subject, or do they not pay much attention to a subject like that?
So in the US, they definitely do look at all of your grades just to see. In the US, grades are very important for the application, but in the UK, I don't think they're as important. It's fine if you just get a B or a C or something, and you can still get into a good university, like an art university in the UK. But in the US, it is quite important, and also it's important for scholarships. So if you show that you have good grades and a good portfolio, then you do get merit scholarship, so
Okay,
which is a
so
plus.
yeah, so tying to your point about scholarship, so what will your future career prospects or goals be in the field of art?
Studying design. As of now, I'm not too sure what aspect of design I want to get into, but for now, I am pursuing graphic design. But maybe it might change in the future. I might get into motion design or interaction design or packaging or branding, something like that. So, in terms of career, I haven't given much thought about it. I'll be honest. Like, it's not something that you have to immediately decide in your freshman year. You kind of decide in your third or fourth year what you really want to do, but most people just have a general idea of what they want to do and then they just experiment a little bit. So that's how it goes.
Okay. So did you do any internships or any like specific courses that helped you gain perspective on like what you would like to do in art school and like the direction you would like to take your learning to?
Yeah, so I did do a few internships with an artist that's based in New York City. Her name is Shreya Mehta. And I helped her with a lot of her videography, and I helped her just with certain video effects that I had to figure out and I had to learn as I go, because I truthfully had never done it before. But she was very understanding, and I kind of figured it out and I learned that. And I did do an internship with another company called Urban Hand, and I basically created content for them for social media. I drew a lot on my iPad for them digitally. And that's how I sort of just gained a little bit more experience in the field. So yeah, that was just, I did do a few internships.
So especially because art is a very time consuming thing, right? So each piece takes like hours upon hours. So how did you balance your time well? Because keeping grades up is especially difficult when you have such a time consuming when you put all your attention into such a time consuming thing.
Yeah. So I mean, luckily for me, I enjoy doing art, so I don't see it that as much as work as I see it as something I just like doing, like how you would like playing like football or something like
Yeah.
that. It's like that for me. But in terms of balancing it, I think just time management is a very important skill. You have to have it, and I feel like for me at least, like just keep things clear, make a to-do list, make things, it really helps you, especially over here with keeping things track. Or just I have a planner, I write down everything I have to do, I make sure that I eat my food, I make sure that I go to sleep. It really prepares you for being by yourself in college. So I think just time management is a huge thing. You have to prioritize certain things, you have to finish things on time, and just don't go crazy. Like, don't go crazy doing just one thing or just the other. Just try to keep a balance. It's difficult, I know, but it is worth it in the end.
Okay. So, for the portfolio that you mentioned earlier, since it's such an essential part in your application process, do art schools put a huge importance on the amount of pieces in your portfolio, or is that really up to like the person who's applying?
So it is. So they do give you a range of pieces that you can put. In my opinion, the more the better. But just don't, like, try to show a diversity in your portfolio as well. Like, for example, don't just do like 17 different drawings of like the same thing. Try and add a little bit of sculpture in there, try and add a little bit of metalwork in there, try and add something different that'll make you stand out. Or if just even if your portfolio is completely 2D, try and experiment with different styles, because art school, the most important thing is showing diversity in your materials, just showing that you can do a lot of things. But the number one thing that I would recommend that a lot of people do is try to add at least one figure drawing piece in your portfolio, because it shows your technical skill. And for art school, it is important that way. So yeah, and try and add one three-dimensional piece.
So, would you say they value like certain art styles over others? or would you say that they look at everything like on the same level?
So obviously, art is very subjective. Like everyone doesn't have the same taste in art. So I would say the content of your portfolio, just make sure that it's your best, it's true to you, and it's true to your style. Again, sounds very cliche, but it is true because art schools will be able to tell instantly if you are copying from someone or if it's not completely something that you feel that it's not reflected in your essay. It's very, very easy to tell. So I would say just keep it true to yourself. And also the order of the pieces in your portfolio matters. So try and so what I did for my portfolio when I applied is I started off with a few stronger pieces. I structured it in such a way that maybe I'd have a few weaker pieces in the middle, and then I would end strong again. So the order of your portfolio also matters. The description of each item also matters. Make sure that that is good, and explain it clearly. Explain it using good English, good grammar, good vocabulary. Write the measurements properly. Take good photos of everything, and I think you should be good.
So other than like how you just mentioned, other than like just artistic skill for creating artworks, what would you say were some of the most important skills that you need to acquire in order to make a successful application or a good application to a university? Like you mentioned, good writing and good English. So anything other than those two?
In terms of skills, there aren't that many other skills that I personally needed. But if you do have a certain skill, like let's say you're good at coding or you're good at Photoshop or something like that, you can always write it in your essay. So then they know as well, you know. So yeah.
Do you have any final tips for anyone who wants to build their college profile and when they should start building it?
So I would say that there's no like set time that, oh, like right now just start, you have to start building it. In terms of tips, just write down, I would say just on your phone, write down a few things that you want to include in your essay, certain experiences that you had that made you like learn things or whatever. Like because a college application is a month long, like a few months long, like it's a process. So it's not that everything's just going to immediately come to you. So I would say the biggest thing is make a list of whatever you have to include in your essay, whatever you want to include in your essay, double check it, make sure that it doesn't sound very like very, very crisp. Like make it sound a little bit like you yourself are writing it like that way. Because I know that a lot of people, they get their essays either written for them or like they just refine it to such an extent that it doesn't sound like them anymore. But it has to sound like you because you are the one applying for college, right? And in terms of your application, I'm sure schools and everything do have a deadline where you have to submit. Stick to those. Stick to those deadlines. Do not leave anything for last minute because it's not going to benefit anyone. Like it's not going to benefit you. It's not going to benefit anyone else. So stick to those deadlines. Listen to your career counselor because they know they know everything. And if you're um, like in my experience at least for art, if you're applying to art school, I had to do most of the work by myself, just compiling of the application, everything, all of that. So just try to be as organized as possible. Take good photos of your pieces. Right, structure your portfolio in such a way that it looks cohesive, and it's also a little bit experimental in certain aspects, but it's a good representation of you and representation of your skill level at the time. And write your descriptions of each piece nicely, measure your pieces, and I would say just write your essay. And yeah, I mean, those are the tips I have.
I think that was really helpful. Thank you so much.
Hi guys, if you'd like a one-page PDF summary of this interview with the key extracurriculars, competitions, leadership positions, classwork, and also updates on the new videos, there's a Google Form link in the description. Once you fill it out, we can send it to you. Thank you.